Hey loves! Welcome back to the channel, it's your girl, and today, oh my god, we are diving into one of the most iconic comebacks in fashion film history, The Devil Wears Prada 2. Nail polish. Now, if you were anywhere alive in the 2000s, you know what that movie did to us. It wasn't just a film, it was a lifestyle, it was an attitude, and let's be honest, it was a generation-defining moment for every woman who ever dreamed of walking into a room like she owned it. Miranda Priestly wasn't just a boss, she was the boss. And now, after almost 20 years, she's back. But here's the twist: the world isn't the same anymore. Fashion's gone digital, magazines are dying, and power looks very, very different. So today, let's talk about everything we know, everything we expect, and what The Devil Wears Prada 2 could really mean in 2026. So, before we jump into the sequel let's rewind for a sec. The first movie, released in 2006, was based on Lauren Weisberger's novel and starred Meryl Streep as Miranda Priestly, the icy editor-in-chief of Runway magazine, and Hathaway as Sachs, a young journalist who learns the price of ambition in the world of high fashion. It was fierce, it was funny, and honestly, it taught an entire generation how to say, "That's all," with soul-crushing elegance. And that last look, when Andy walks away from Miranda, that was iconic. It said, "I've learned from you, but I'm not going to become you." Fast forward to 2026. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is officially in production, directed again by David Frankel, written by Aline Brosh McKenna, and yes, our queens are back: Meryl Streep and Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. The plot? So far, sources say the story dives deep into how the fashion and magazine world has changed. Miranda's empire is struggling in the age of influencers and fast fashion. Meanwhile, Emily, remember her? The ambitious assistant who lived for Paris, she's now a high-powered fashion executive herself. And rumor has it, she might be Miranda's biggest competition. That's such a delicious twist, right? From boss to rival, it's giving full-circle energy. Let's talk about the characters. Miranda Priestly, even in her 60s, still rules with silent power. But this time, her throne is shaking, print is dying, her old-school perfectionism doesn't fit the digital age, and she's facing a whole new type of fashion chaos: algorithms. Sachs, our girl, has evolved too. She's not the shy assistant anymore. She's successful, confident, and trying to balance her ethics in a world that still demands compromise. And Emily? She's thriving. She's sharp, she's stylish, she's everything she ever wanted to be, but success has a price. I think what's really exciting is how the film might show the different kinds of power women hold now. It's not just about career anymore, it's about identity, reputation, and the way the world defines women who lead. Okay, we have to talk fashion because, let's be honest, this movie's wardrobe department basically invented aesthetic goals. In the first film, it was all Chanel, Prada, Dior, and classic silhouettes. But now, I'm expecting something more edgy, sustainable, tech-inspired, maybe even gender-fluid pieces, and bold street couture. And imagine Miranda facing off against Emily at a Fashion Week event in Milan. Both in jaw-dropping couture. Both silent, but deadly. That's the kind of scene we'll be talking about for another 20 years. What makes The Devil Wears Prada special isn't just fashion, it's the emotion. The first movie taught us about ambition, burnout, and what it means to chase success at the cost of your soul. The sequel could go even deeper: how women in power evolve, how the fashion world treats aging icons, and how loyalty and rivalry blur together. I think the emotional center will still be that push and pull. Respect versus resentment, admiration versus independence. You know what really fascinates me about The Devil Wears Prada 2? It's not just a sequel, it's a mirror. A mirror showing how far women have come since 2006. Back then, success meant sharp heels, late nights, and pretending not to care. But today, power looks different. It's about balance, creativity, and saying no without apology. In this sequel, Miranda's struggle isn't just against the digital revolution, it's against time itself. She's the queen of an empire built on print pages, luxury, and exclusivity, but now, everyone's an influencer, and every phone is a runway. That's what makes this story powerful. It's not about who wears Prada anymore, it's about who controls the narrative. Miranda used to rule, through silence. Remember that deadly pause before she said, "That's all?" But now silence doesn't rule. The loudest voice online wins. So, what happens when the ultimate symbol of quiet authority meets a world addicted to noise? That's the emotional tension I'm dying to see. And let's talk about the female dynamic, because I'm hoping this sequel gets one thing right. Women don't need to destroy each other to be strong. Sure, Miranda and Emily might be rivals now, but the deeper story could be about mentorship, evolution, and legacy. Emily learned from Miranda's perfection. She just updated it for the new age. It's the eternal cycle. The student becomes the master, but still carries a piece of the teacher inside her. If the film explores that emotional complexity, admiration mixed with rebellion, it could easily become one of the most layered portrayals of female ambition in modern cinema. And then there's Andy. She was our entry point in the first film, the ordinary girl thrown into a world of impossible standards. Now, she's wiser, calmer, but maybe a little disillusioned. The rumor is that Andy has moved into digital journalism, running her own ethical media platform. So when she crosses paths with Miranda and Emily again, it's not just nostalgia, it's a moral confrontation. Andy might represent everything that's missing in the fashion world today: authenticity. The idea that beauty doesn't have to come from power or money, but from truth. If the writers play this right, her character could be the emotional backbone that ties the old and new worlds together. Because honestly, we all still want to know, did she ever truly forgive Miranda? Or, deep down, does a part of her still crave that chaos? Now, let's talk visuals, because this movie has to look expensive. The first Devil Wears Prada was a masterclass in elegant simplicity: sleek offices, soft lighting, couture fashion gliding through corridors like poetry. But the sequel will probably go bolder: neon fashion weeks, social media aesthetics, futuristic sets, and handheld realism mixed with glamour. Imagine crosscuts between Miranda's old-school luxury and Emily's edgy new-age empire, two worlds colliding in color, sound, and style. David Frankel knows this balance well. He doesn't just direct fashion, he directs emotion through fashion. Every shoe, every accessory, every office scene has a purpose. So if they keep that level of visual storytelling, we're in for something timeless again. Fashion was the soul of the first film, and I'm sure it'll speak even louder this time. But this time, the language has changed. Miranda's wardrobe might represent tradition: rich fabrics, old money colors, timeless silhouettes. Emily's style? Expect bold cuts, metallics, and digital-era statement pieces. Maybe even collaborations with real-life designers. And Andy? Minimalist, sustainable chic, soft tones, clean lines, natural textures. Together, their fashion will tell a story. Miranda's power built on legacy. Emily's dominance built on reinvention. Andy's confidence built on conscience. It's not just outfits, it's ideology stitched into couture. You know, for all the Prada and drama, what makes this story timeless isn't the fashion at all. It's the humanity underneath. The Devil Wears Prada 2 has a chance to speak to every woman who's ever worked hard, been underestimated, or had to choose between career and self-respect. It's about aging gracefully in a world obsessed with youth. It's about learning that power doesn't have to be cold, it can be kind, it can be collaborative, and yes, it can be beautifully dressed. If they manage to balance the glamour with the emotion, it won't just be a sequel, it'll be a reflection of how womanhood has evolved. You know what's really interesting about The Devil Wears Prada 2? It's not just about fashion anymore, it's about survival. The original film showed us what it takes to make it in a ruthless, high-gloss world. But this sequel? It's about what it takes to stay there. Miranda's not just fighting for relevance, she's fighting to prove that elegance still matters in a chaotic, click-driven culture. Emily's fighting to prove that she can lead, not just follow orders. And Andy, she's fighting for meaning, for authenticity, for balance. This isn't a story about good and evil anymore, it's about evolution. About three women facing a world that has changed the rules, but still expects them to play the same game. So, let's be honest. Making a sequel to a movie as iconic as The Devil Wears Prada is a massive risk. The first film wasn't just loved, it was worshipped. Every line, every outfit, every icy glare from Meryl Streep became pop culture legend. So the sequel has a lot to live up to. If it tries too hard to copy the original, it'll feel dated. If it changes too much, fans might say it's lost the magic. The secret, I think, lies in tone, that perfect balance between nostalgia and growth. Give us Miranda's signature shade of sarcasm, yes, but also show us her vulnerability. Give us Andy's charm, but show us her strength. And Emily. Don't forget, like and subscribe.